Chloe Mayer Stayed Victor Will. How's everybody doing today? Amazing, I hope. It is another video from your older than average YouTuber here on the YouTubes, and we are building a palette this week, and it is the Bailey Sarian Melt Fatally Yours palette. So if you want to see what colors I picked to recreate the palette, see what it'll look like compared to the palette, see the look we create and the shades that we use, you're in the right place, and you know what you need to do? You need to keep on watching. So it's been quite a while since we've done one of these. I'm actually quite excited. This was a palette that when I saw it, I was originally thinking after the Halloween town palette debacle, even though the Christmas one was good, I was thinking, wonder, am I over Melt? And then they decided to do this collab with Bailey Sarian, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then they did an all matte palette, because that's one thing Melt does really well is their mattes. Their shimmers have very hit and miss. They're more everyday shimmers, nothing special really at all. Sometimes lovely colors, but nothing really special. But this color story is beautiful, and that it's all mattes. Packaging is lovely. I love Bailey. I've been following her for I think at least 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, but for sure 2. And I wanted it, and I was thinking, oh, maybe. And then somebody posted another group. There's carmine in it. I wouldn't have thought that in this color one that will. I mean, Melt says that they are vegan, cruelty-free, but every once in a while they seem to have carmine in their things. So, and sometimes I forget about that. So I'm not sure if the Christmas palette does. So I'm not going to look. I try not to, but I know for some people, I think some people don't think carmine is as cruel, but it is. So I was like, okay, we are going to be good. If you do it because you didn't look and forgot, or you didn't know, but when you know, I can't do it. But I love that color story. I love Bailey. So I thought, let's build a palette. Like I said, it's been a hot minute since we've done one. So I thought this would be the first one to do again, or maybe to finish off the year with. I don't know, but this one I've been really interested in. So I have a small stack here of palettes. So how did I get some stickers on here? Some palettes. Actually, a funny story is I thought, oh, I was only going to probably end up using 2 or 3 palettes. I did use a few more than I thought. I think we have 2, 4, 6, 7 for 10 shades. But funnily enough, it was one of the matte shades that caused me the most problem, and a brown, because I don't have a lot of neutral palettes. I have a couple, and then, you know, some palettes that have neutrals throughout. But this particular shade was very hard to find. I couldn't find anything that I felt even closely matched, so I just picked one I liked. So when we get to that one, I will mention that. So let's build the palette. So as we go along, I will show you the colors in here, and then at the end, I will show you a comparison of what I picked compared to the picture that I have of the shades, and then you can see how well I did. And again, remember taking into effect that lighting can sometimes, when I take pictures, some shades I thought looked really good, but then when I saw the pictures, I'm like, oh, I don't know how close they are. But we will see in the swatching, and we will see when we do an eye look. There's only 10 shades, so we can see how many of them we can pack on our eye today. So I've already got my glasses on, so let's pick some colors to do the Bailey Sarian X Melt Fatally Yours palette. And the first shade in here, it's in the picture, it looks almost like a peachy, corally, leaning more towards almost a peach. It's a very interesting shade. So the first shade I picked was from Nomad Cosmetics, and it is from the Cartagena Magica palette, and it is the shade La Diosa Coronada. And that is this shade here. And I think it's a pretty close. It's looking a little bit darker in the photo here than on the photo that you'll see. But I do think that this shade is pretty close. Or close enough that I felt confident that we could create a look using it that is reminiscent of the one in the palette there. So that is the first shade there. And again, we used this from Nomad Cosmetics. So the next shade is from the Beauty Bay palette. This is also, what do you want to call this one too? Like yeah, that's just very interesting. I'm bad with color names as well, as you can tell. But I picked the closest shade that I could find was the shade Heatwave from the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette. In the picture that I have here, depending on which picture I look at, it looks a bit more muted, and then the next one, it looks a little bit lighter. So I just went with the shade Heatwave. I mean, the one Koi here could be pretty close too, but this one just felt a little bit brighter. And like I said, depending on which picture you looked at, it looked a little bit orangey, sometimes it looked a bit yellowy. So I just thought we're going to go with Heatwave. We can at least get the feeling of what we want. So there we go. And that is from the Beauty Bay Bright Mattes. Now the third shade in here, and again, when you look at this one looks a lot brighter of an orange. This is from Wicked Widow Graveyard Smash. There we go. So it is the shade called Harvest Horrors. I can't even read my own typing. So that is this shade right there. That and like so, definitely a bit brighter because the third shade does look a lot brighter in the photo here. For my love of oranges, I don't have as many oranges as I had thought. Seems to be I just have, you know, a few palettes that have a couple orange shades in there. I was like, ooh, yay, orange. But I don't have a lot of all orange palettes. So now the fourth shade, that is the one from Give Me Glow, the Haunted Pumpkin palette. And it is the one that is Hail to the Pumpkin King. I think we've used that shade a few times. It feels like it's orangey, but then it has a bit of a brown tone, which like the shade in here does. And again, it depends on what picture I'm looking at. Some it looks more brown, and other ones, I don't know. So again, I'm not so great with color, but this one definitely did have kind of a browny orange tone to it. And I thought that this would be pretty close to shade number 4. So we went with that. So again, this is the Haunted Pumpkin from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. I really wish I could have bought something from their sale, but there we go. So now we've got 4 shades down. So now we're halfway through. So this one, I went into the Maneater palette from Arttitude Cosmetics. So we definitely have a few palettes we've used before in making palettes, and we do have a few that are new, so that's always good. So for number 5, I picked the shade called Carnivore from the Maneater palette, and then number 5 looked like felt like almost like a burgundy, but then at the same time a reddish brown. Again, these are very interesting colors that she picked. And yes, I picked the shade Carnivore, which is that shade here. This was the first shade I picked. I think this one was the easiest of all of them to pick. So let's go like so. I think I grabbed it a little bit hard. I got a little bit of fallout there. Oh, my Strata Council is going crazy right now. So there we go. So Carnivore from the Maneater palette. Now, for the next 3 shades, these are all coming out of one palette. Like I said, I thought the majority at first would. I thought when I looked at the color stories, like, oh, you got a lot of grungy stories, you got a lot of mustardy yellows, and you've got some orange, and this should be really easy. You should just probably have 2 palettes and done. But we actually used quite a few. But this one, who's been in quite a few of our palette builds, so I guess I'm either liking the same type of color stories or this is very versatile. So for shade number 6, we went in the shade that is called Fog. I love this palette so much. And so this is the shade there, Fog. These ones usually just sometimes get a little fall outy. This is the shade Fog, and that is shade 5, number 6. So this one I think looks really, really close to what's in Bailey's palette to me. So again, that is Fog by Glaminatrix. Now shade number 7 is again from the Glaminatrix Nocturnal, and it is the shade called Gloom, which is this gold shade just likes to get everywhere. This one right here, right beside the other one, right next to Fog. So we've got that there. And that too was a quick find. like that right away. It was like, yep, that's going to be that shade. That's going to be that shade. Now, shade number 9, this one was a little bit harder for me to find. I think this shade that I picked is a little bit darker. The other shade I had, I think, was way too light. So if this was a shade, I think a shade and a teeny bit lighter, it would probably have been perfect, but it was close enough that I felt confident in it. And that is the one called Nightfall, and that is this blue shade here. So that is shade number 9, and that is, right? Or number 8. Oh, number 8. Getting ahead of myself here. Nightfall. Let's just take one more bit there. There we go. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 shades. So 2 more to go. So we had 3 come out of the Glaminatrix Nocturnal palette. Now next, this is another new one in our collection here. Oh, you're gonna laugh at the last shade. Alrighty, so we've got from Ghostface palette here. This is the Ghostface Lives by Glamlite. And for number 9, I picked the shade Curfew. And let me see, where is that again? Or Curfew Hour, I should say. There, yeah, Curfew Hour. And that is that shade there. So it is a darker bluish green. I think the one in Bailey's palette might be a smidge darker, but I thought that was pretty close. So there we go. And then for shade number 10, we're going back to the Nocturnal by Glaminatrix. And the only reason was I was just thinking a good black. So we picked the shade Shadow, and that's what the last shade looks to be in the Bailey's palette, is a black. So I thought, well, instead of hunting around for one more palette, let's do this one. And there we go, the shade Shadow, which is a black. A black is a black is a black, color-wise. So I could have picked from any palette. So I just thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's do this one. So that was pretty easy. There is our 10 shades swatched. I think it's looking pretty close. So now it's time to put some of these onto our face. So on to the look. Okay, so let's go on to our look. I'm going to be using my Prime is Everything by The Balm. I'm just going to use the neutral shade because these are all browny, orange, grungy tones. So I think they would do better with a more neutral base than a black base. So there we go. We've got our base on. So let's start with that very first shade. So that was from the Cartagena palette, La Diosa, Coronada. So I thought maybe we'll start with that one first and do a little kind of a blendy there. And I've only played with this palette twice so far since I got it. It's pretty recent, even though it's an older palette. So it's kind of fun to play with the shade out of here again. And it is quite the brighter shade, but it is one of the lighter shades. Yeah, Bailey does a lot of really, really grungy looks. I think that's kind of more her favorite, her vibe. I think she's also a big lover of Halloween and alternative culture. So it's really... And then plus, of course, she talks about murder while doing her makeup. She definitely likes a lot of grungy shades. She does a lot of matte stuff. She does a lot of times add some beautiful pops of shimmer. But I think, as she knows, like we all know, that Melt's matte formula is where it's at. Then we're going to go into the third one. So let's go into Harvest Horrors from Wicked Widow. This palette is so cute. I got this in an ice cream box. My order is just complete for the December ice cream box. There are some spoilers. The palette's really cute, but I'm really excited that there is a lipstick set from Ofra in there and a highlighter from ZZ. I do have one of the round ones from the new collection, but this was from the British Museum, which I love their powder. I have a couple of the palettes from that collection, so it'd be kind of, and lipsticks, it'd be kind of nice to get a highlighter from that collection as well. So that is pretty exciting for me. So that is that shade there. And then we're going to do that the middle to the outside. We may add a little black to darken on the outer edge there. Thought we can do a very orange look today. Yeah, so I don't know if any of you are fans of murder and watching people do makeup. I am. I only watch two people consistently, and that is Bailey Sarian and Danielle Kirsty. She's really good as well. She does kind of the same thing, but what she does is she always matches her nails. Oh, I think I did forget to mention which shade was the hardest to find, and that was a shade number 4, and that was the Hale to the Pumpkin King one, I believe, was the hardest shade to find. And it ended up being, because it was so hard to tell inside there if it was a brown or if it was mustardy orange. It was like really hard to tell what it was. So yeah, the Hale to the Pumpkin King. But let's just pick a shade that we like, and then that's what we used. I'm going to go into the Nocturnal palette, and we're going to go with the black. So that was shade number 10, so which is Shadow from this palette. So I'm just going to do that and just pop a little bit on the outer corners there. I think maybe actually I'll do a little on the inner corner as well. Let's see if all right, so we planted some dark. And then I'm going to blend that. Okay, so I was kind of thinking I wanted to keep it round, but now I think I might want to just a little. I think I may be slightly obsessed with winging things out. You think? All right, so let's just blend that. Because I'm feeling that without a shimmer. You know, like I said, I love all matte looks, but sometimes the shimmer does add that little bit of drama to a look. Okay, so now we're gonna go back into Harvest from Wicked Widow into the center. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, and then we're gonna go back into the first shade that we used. So that was the one from the Cartagena palette. I think we may be done with this. I think I might anchor something else on the bottom. Okay, so for the bottom, let's use Curfew Hour from the Glamlite. Let's change the color palette because it's black, but I want to use that really, really dark blue, I think. Because it is a very dark blue-green. Let's see how that looks along the bottom. Okay, and then for the inner corner, there isn't really, oh, there is. There's one kind of lightest shade. So that is the one that we picked from Glaminatrix, and I believe it's called Nightfall. Yeah, so I'm going to use a little bit of Nightfall in the inner corner. Or do I want, oh, hold on. You know what? Maybe instead I'm going to use the 6th shade, the kind of shade called Fog. So maybe I'm going to use that instead, actually. Let's use a little bit of Fog because that's bright. It's a very strange look I've created here. I'm gonna go into the shade Shadow. If I ruin it now, I ruin it. Okay, so I'm gonna go and put on my base. I'm going to play with the eyes some more, I think with like some liner, mascara, maybe some lashes. I don't know what to make of this. I don't think I dislike it. I don't think I like it. I think I'm having issues with the orange on top. I like kind of adding the black there to intensify that. So if I come back with a different look, it is what it is. All right, 1 second.
Okay, here we are looking at the build. So here is one of two different photos that I had that I used to pick the colors from. This is the second one. I took it from the video because this is where I got the most full photo. These are the ones that I picked from the palette and then I took pictures of. So you can kind of see what they look like before we compare them to the two. And then you can let me know if I did a good job this time or if I did crap. Let me know.
Okay, here we are with our final look. I did play with a little bit more melt. So for blush and highlighter, I use this from the Christmas collection. This is the Deadly Nightshade palette there from the Christmas Town collection. And then I also grabbed a lipstick from that same collection, and it is in the shade called, oops, hold on, Shot Down. So it's this purple shade. So yeah, I just thought try to keep in a little bit in the melt family. So what I did was I just added a little bit more black. I left the blue where I smudged out, but I added a little bit more black. I felt that the blue was too much difference. And then on top, I just took a little bit of the orange down because I was like, what was bothering me? And I think it was just that the orange was too high for my comfort level. But there we go. There's our final look. I just put on some half flashes, just ones that I had loose in a container. So who are they by? I don't know. So there we go. This is my palette build of the Bailey Sarian Fatally Yours palette. Yeah, let me know if you think the colors are pretty close, far off, or can you build this in your collection? Even if I wanted to, I can't get it. So there we go. At the end, I'm kind of happy with my look. Like I said, I just had to tone down that orange and then just add a little bit more black. And then I liked it. So there we go. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe even hit that notification bell. If not, that's okay. We can still be friends and still build palettes together. I upload usually on Mondays and Fridays, but occasionally, like today, we will have a bonus video. So as always, behave. And in the words of Bailey Sarian, make good choices, and we will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.